last year, I posted a video, which I probably shouldn't have posted. It was talking about a topic that I shouldn't have spoke about. I have no jurisdiction to talk about. Comments, shares, like everyone just spamming. And I was like, all right, I need to delete this. So I deleted it, but it got screen recorded and then it just like popped off. Then it changes the whole energy around you, because you're going out to a cafe and everybody already knows you and you can feel it, repeating the same thing, going to the same club, seeing the same people, dancing to the same songs, drinking the same drinks, eating the same drugs. I'm not living up to my potential. People that, you're like, yeah, they're my friend, they're not your friend. Can I take the frequency hit? Can I withstand the negative? Is my positive energy going to outweigh the negativity that I will potentially get from restarting? It was more of a, am I ready? It was time to stop everything. Christ has my heart and that Christ has saved my life.
What's going on, guys? Before we get into this episode, I have an important message. Now, we don't normally do this, but I'm coming to you guys for a big favor. A close friend's dad has been diagnosed with a rare and aggressive brain cancer. The only chance for him now is urgent treatment abroad, and as you guys can imagine, the costs are unbelievably high. Time isn't on their side, but this is where you guys come in. Every single donation, every share, every bit of support counts, whether that be big or small. It genuinely makes a difference. I'm coming to you guys to ask a favor, to see the strength and power of our community and to give our friend, his dad, and their family the best fighting chance. You can find the link to the GoFundMe in our description. Like I said, any donation, big or small, goes a long way. So let's get behind them, guys. Let's give them the best fighting chance we can and enjoy the episode. Peace.
How did you find Christ, bro? How did that come about? I've never met, like, you see it online, right? But I've never met someone that's like found Christ and kind of become a new person almost.
Well, right off the bat, I definitely have become a new person. Like every single thing that I talk about, laugh about, enjoy, think about has changed. And I found Christ on my journey, and I grew up like not even believing in anything. Like I wouldn't say atheist, but I didn't believe that there was any God or any religion. I was like I'm not believing in that rubbish. Like it's me. Do you know what I mean? I'm the creator. And where I originally came into like the spiritual side of things was like the universe, I called it. And how you can, create your own reality and manifest, which I very much still believe. But how I actually came to Christ, to answer your question, was through my social media blowing up. At the back or the middle of last year, about July, I posted a video, which I probably shouldn't have posted. It was talking about a topic that I shouldn't have spoke about. I have no jurisdiction to talk about.
What was it, if you don't mind?
It was me talking about DV, so domestic violence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which I've never been through. So have no need or reason to talk about that. I was literally replying, so reacting instead of creating, to a message that I'd received from a young lady. And the point of the video was that you have responsibility for your own life. So things that happen to you, you have a responsibility of how you react and how you overcome that. That was the point of the video, delivered terribly and talking about something that I shouldn't have spoken about. And that was a very, I would say the lowest point of my life.
Why?
Because it blew up. So the video I had was, and I'd already been getting quite a bit of hate online. And the video, I only had it up for probably 40 minutes. And instantly, bang, not millions, like comments, shares, like everyone just just spamming. And I was like, all right, I need to delete this. So I deleted it, but it got screen recorded. And then people with like, $250,000, $500,000 with reaction channels reacted to it. And then it just like popped off, dude. Oh, yeah. So it just went super viral in like my bubble or my world. And
it's something that you didn't necessarily want to go viral for.
Exactly right. And like I said, my page was sort of grown off a bit of negativity. Like I was leaning into it, and everyone was just waiting for me to stuff up, and that was the stuff up. And then it was just like finally bang, and just like everyone just felt like the whole world was against me. So yeah, that's why it felt like the lowest point of my life. And through that, I got introduced to like give a bit more context to the story. Me growing my social media was done by myself, obviously, but then I had a good mate of mine / mentor who was like, we were leaning into it together. He was giving me ideas. I was just executing on the ideas. And someone that I hold very closely to my heart still to this day, stuck through that time. And when something like that happens, the whole, what feels like world knows about it. And obviously I've said something wrong, right? Everyone makes mistakes, but everyone turns against you. People that, you're like, yeah, they're my friend. They're not your friend.
Oh, what, you losing friends over it?
100%, bro. People unfollowed me. People
just didn't want to be associated.
I don't even want to be in the same room as him. Like, that's terrible. How could you say that? And it really shows you who's actually in your corner. So this guy, his name's Will. Still a good mate of mine today.
Shout out Will.
Yeah, shout out Will. He had recently, like I said, was a bit of a mentor to me, like really helped me grow into the man that I am today, I would say. Mm-hmm. And he recently came to Christ. And right at that point where, I was super, super low and felt like the whole world was against me, he would just keep sending me Bible verses and just keep saying, Codes, lean in, dude. Lean in, lean in. And, at first it was super different, super weird, I would say, and definitely uncomfortable. Even going to church, like I'd never seen, when I remember first going to church and I was like, man, I've never seen so much like passion in one room. It made me feel uncomfortable. But the more I lent in and the more that I continued to go on my own journey down that path, the closer I became with Christ, and it's led me to where we are today. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. What positive effects has your relationship with Christ and with God and with religion and your spirituality, what positive effects has that had on your life, and how do we basically have the version of you that we have now?
That's a good question. I would say the most positive effect that finding Christ has had for me is dropping my ego, is allowing me to, like, there's less worry. There's less worry. Like all of the bad things, all of the good things, all of the testing times, like there's a plan for it all. And I'm going through it for a reason. It says in a verse in the Bible, I can't remember exactly which one, but it says these sufferings that we're going through produce endurance. Endurance produces character, and character produces hope. It's that hope for a better day. Like it allows me to give it up to someone other than myself. You know what I mean? Like there's no more, I can't think of the word, but when you're on your knees praying, like submissive to God, like I've never even thought of doing something like that, but it just takes all of the worry, the stress away. Now I'm still a human being. I still stress, I still worry, but it just gives me more hope that, there is a brighter day, that there is more out there, that I don't have to worry as much as I once worried, that it's not just all on me. Like I'm not just creating all of these, problems. It's not something that I've done. I can't work harder to get out of this. Like it's meant to happen. You're not meant to, get the client. You're not meant to do that. You're not meant to meet that person. Or on the flip side, you've met that person for a reason. They sat next to you at the cafe for a reason. Do you know what I mean? Like you start to go like nothing is by coincidence. It's all a part of some big plan. And that's just really, it's really nice, a nice warm feeling inside. So to answer your question, everything has changed. Everything has been a positive effect. Now, I was just talking with a friend last night, and whilst it's the best thing that's ever happened to me, also the hardest. And that's originally what got me to continually strengthen my relationship and lean further in, is how hard it is to follow Christ.
Why specifically is it hard though?
Because it's an unattainable goal. The whole like point of Christianity is to live in alignment with Jesus Christ, who lived a completely perfect life. No sin, no lust, no jealousy, no cynicism. Perfect. You can't do that. It's impossible, right? So all of the like, how can I not judge someone? Yeah, I'm just brought up judging people, right? Like, how can I not be jealous of that 18-year-old who's driving Lambo? Like, it's the hardest thing that I'll ever do, is try to live every single day in alignment with Jesus Christ.
But I think what makes you a good Christian, or just a good person, is being aware of those things, but checking them.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be jealous. You're going to have lust. You're going to have these feelings, right? Because we're humans. There's a reason that Jesus was the Son of Christ and is referred to as God.
Yeah.
Because, yes, he was in human form, but he was God in human form.
Yeah.
Hence why he's perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
We aren't gods.
Exactly.
In human forms. We're just humans.
Exactly.
And humans are imperfect in so many different ways, but it's acknowledging that, checking that, and controlling it.
Exactly.
In my opinion, which makes you either a good or a bad person.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it actually says in the Bible as well, like, coming to Christ doesn't make you not sin. It just makes you more aware of your sin. Yeah. Which, like, was exactly what happened. Like, all of and once again, sin's different for everyone, I believe. Like, what's sin for me might not be sin for you. It's your personal relationship with God and the obedience to his word and what he's putting on your heart. So
a big thing that you said to me when we had dinner a couple of days back, which kind of took me by surprise, and I think I can speak for H as well, when we were just a bit like, whoa, that's intense.
Yeah.
You have completely cut out any sexual activity from your life because of your relationship and with God and your spirituality. What was that like, and what did it also consist of? Because you have a partner, right?
Yes, I have a beautiful partner back in Australia.
And just to clarify as well, you were with her before you found Christ.
Yep. I think she was a big part of the reason why I found Christ and a big part of my journey with him. But yeah, it's the way that God speaks to me. And once again, this is different for everyone. Like, I've had sex a bunch of times in my life with a bunch of different women, right? But at the time, it wasn't sin for me. I didn't know God. I didn't have a relationship with him. He wasn't explicitly telling me anything. So the way that God talks to me is through other Christian men or through continual patterns continuing to happen. And how it came about was, I've been baptized, so water baptized, and that was a big moment for me, because once I started to strengthen that relationship with Christ, I started to realize how much sin I had done in my life. Now, don't get me wrong, I wasn't like feeling sorry for myself or anything like that, because I wasn't aware that it was sin at the time. But going down in the water that day and coming back up, it allowed me to leave all of that, my previous life, in the water. It was done. It died with Christ, and I rose up with him again. And as I just continued on, so I actually moved overseas, so to Bali, and left my partner, and she's an awesome girl, and was like, yeah, you go and do your thing. Like, I trust the decisions that you make. And I just continually had the pattern coming up of Christian men who I respected, like content that I was consuming, verses in the Bible that I was reading, continually just smashing me in the face, just like, no sex before marriage, no sex before marriage, no sex before marriage. And I was like, man. And I remember I was chat GPTing and Googling and watching YouTube videos. Like, no, there's got to be a way around this. Like, but as I previously mentioned to you both, is I'm a pretty all-in person. So when I do something, I like to go all in on it, right? And I was doing the same with my faith. And I remember praying, and I would be like, Lord, send me in to the battlefield. Like, I will do anything. Like, as a lot of Christians do at the start, they're like, I've been saved, hallelujah. You know what I mean? And it's just like, this is amazing. Everything's going so well. And I would pray that, and the Lord would be like, okay, no sex before marriage. And I'd go, everything but that. When
you say, the Lord would say, okay, but no sex before marriage, what is that interaction? How do you receive that message?
Through thoughts, bro.
Right.
So you can depict all of the thoughts in your brain, in my opinion, are not thought by you. Okay. Things can get in there, right? Whether it's the devil, whether it's angels, whether it's God, whatever you believe in.
Yeah.
Right. And you can God speaks to everyone differently. Speaks to me through, like I said, other Christian men and continual thought patterns. And that was just a thought pattern. It was like, I would think, yes, I would say, send me in, like I'm ready to do anything. And then it would go in my head, yeah, but what about no sex before marriage? Like, I would think that. That's a thought from God.
You would receive that.
And I'd be like, oh, true.
Yeah, so I would always, my thing is, I struggle when I hear people say, I spoke with God and like you hear this big overwhelming shadow. It's like, you shall not. Like, I really struggle. Like, I am a Christian. I've been raised a Christian. I believe in the life after death, and I believe I've been raised in that, you know. But what I always used to struggle with, and I think always still struggle with, and you've just really simplified it for me, but when people are like, he spoke to me, you know, like I heard, I saw.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me which is like, bro, were you just like on a shroom trip? Or like, were you dreaming? But then the way you've just kind of put it is that you could be dreaming. Yeah. And your dream could be that God speaks to you.
Yeah.
And some people would think of that as a dream, and others will receive that as he actually spoke to me, because that engagement has happened.
100%.
You know?
100%, bro. And it's different for everyone. So it's like, I can't say, oh yeah, like it's going to be through thought.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Once again, it could be through other people speaking to you. And that was another thing, like Christian men that, you know, I very much respect and look up to would be like, man, how can you even, like, without even knowing that I'm trapped in this like jail cell of thought, go, man, how can you even call yourself a Christian if you're having sex before marriage? And I'm like, interesting. Like, damn, I'm in this battle right now. So yeah, God speaks to everyone differently, but that's just personally how he, you know, gives his words to me.
What is the actual reasoning for no sex before marriage? Because I can completely get on board with meaningless nothing. Let's go down to the club and every Saturday I'm coming home with a different girl and I'm catching a different body and it's nothing. It's just lust driven.
Yeah.
I can understand that, because sex is the closest way, in my opinion, to connect souls, right?
Yeah.
To be the closest with your other half or with your person. My thing is, if I'm with somebody, which I am, that I see myself spending the rest of my life with, why should I strip that away and put a timeline on that connection when it can strengthen our relationship? It could bring us closer together. It could help us to get over a rough part in our relationship, you know? For me personally, my sexual activity with my partner is a huge part of my relationship. It's not the only part, which we've previously spoken about, but it really strengthens it. Why should I strip that back and have, not detriment, but have a negative effect on my relationship when I know that I'm still going to marry this person, I'm still going to be with this person? Why should I have to put a timeline or a title or, on it before I can engage in that in connection and that interaction with her?
I don't think you should. I think that for me personally, it was just on my heart, and that's what God was asking from me. And how it made sense in my worldly brain and to my flesh was, okay, I'm going to be obedient to God. There's only good that can happen from this. The only thing that hurts, if it were to go south, which is the other way, is my flesh gets hurt for a little bit. Can I deal with being hurt? Yes, because I've done it before. Okay, cool. So there's no real downside to my spirit. And at the end of the day, that's my highest priority, is my spirit and my relationship with God. So those two options were, one, I have the conversation, which was a tough conversation to have, as you could imagine. And like yourself, like my whole relationship with my beautiful partner, Tegan, was built off physical and having sex. Mm-hmm. So to then move across, like move countries and then take away the physical aspect, which we would look forward to when we see each other, was big. And it was a big test, right? But the only options is because I'm not going to fudge. And I know that in myself, because it took me a really, really long time, like a month, to actually make that decision and speak it out. Because I take my word very seriously, and I have for a long time. And as soon as I speak something, it's done. And it won't happen. And my friends are like, oh, like, be careful when you go and see Tegan. And I'm like, dude, it's all good. Like, nothing's going to happen. Because I trust myself so much, and I trust my relationship with God. And to actually have that conversation, the two routes were going to be, one, she's on board and we can withstand this test. We can go through, we can find out that our souls are actually on fire for each other, so that, you know, when we're 80 and we're not as attractive as we are now at our, you know, early 20s, we're still going to love each other, and we're still going to care for each other, and we're going to know that that relationship is governed by God. Or she's not going to be able to handle it well, and, you know, maybe it doesn't work and we have to part ways, and I know that she was not the girl for me anyway. Because if that is going to break us up now, what would happen when we're 20 years deep into marriage? And for me, which is another drastic thing that has changed in my life, is how sincere and how serious marriage actually is. It's the most important decision that a man can make, in my opinion. Your life partner. That's going to determine whether you win, you succeed, you're growing constantly, or it's going to be your downfall, in my opinion. And so it's such a serious decision, and something that I want with my faith to be governed by God. And if I'm feeling on my heart, and it's God speaking to me that I'm ready to take this challenge on, and if it's right, and that was only really to perceive it well in my human experience, in my flesh, that, okay, well, there's only good things that can happen, and the worst thing is that I get a little bit heartbroken. Can you deal with heartbreak, Cody? Yeah. Okay, cool. Can you deal with knowing that you've disobeyed God and that you have a potential to not go to heaven? No, I don't want to think about that. So that's what made it sort of clear in my head. And now, funnily enough, you asked Tegan, trust me, it was a very hard conversation, done over the phone as well. Yeah. Sucked. Yeah, sucked, dude. But it was, in my opinion, better than waiting until we saw each other and then go, hey, actually, before we undress here quickly, I've got something to tell you.
What were obviously, like, the medium to long-term effects are starting to come into play now. And I mean, the way that you speak about it now, the way that we spoke about it the first time that we had this conversation, you have a very positive mindset around it. So I'm taking it that Tegan is on board, and she's with it, and she trusts your judgment, and you're in this together, right?
Yeah.
In the short term, you said it was hard.
Yeah.
What does that hard look like? What were those conversations like? What was the first interaction like when you hadn't seen each other for a certain amount of time, and it was like, hey, I love you, how are you? And then it's like, okay, that's where we draw the line.
Yeah.
Like, what was that transitional period like?
So the initial conversation was tough, and it was left with her feeling like, oh, am I not good enough? Like, is it, you know, me being unattractive, and, you know, the things that a normal human would think, specifically a girl in that position as well. Yeah. And
instantly emotional, right?
Exactly. Which is granted. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a hard thing to hear from the person that you love and your relationship built off physical touch. But no, she was on board, and the way I sort of explained it to her, and I very much lead the relationship, and I said, look, I would never make a decision and take you down a path which I didn't believe led us and yourself to a better position. And once again, either she trusts that through previous, encounters and previous times that I've had that decision-making position, or it's too much and she leaves. So it's like there's only one option. Like, I'm going this way. It's very much how I've sort of led my life for the last 2 years. It's like, I'm going this way. I would love you to come, but if you're not ready, then that's completely okay as well. But then, so when I first made the decision, it was no sex before marriage, but I was still doing everything else. So to answer your question, the transition period was, okay, awesome. Like, we're not having sex explicitly. We were still fiddling around and doing other things, right? So that was still, that chemistry and physical touch was still there to a point.
Right. That's
now,
not the case anymore?
No.
Right.
Whilst I was back in Australia, only 3 weeks ago or so, I felt on my heart that I was ready. It was time to stop everything and have no real physical, sexual interaction before marriage, which is tough. And that will then bring its own set of challenges, which I'll experience when I experience them.
What was that second conversation like?
Really easy.
Oh, right.
Really easy. I was worried. I was worried based off the first conversation. And she said to me, to be completely honest, I was waiting for it. She said, I'd been feeling it on my heart as well. She's a woman of God as well. And she was like, yeah, I was honestly waiting for this conversation. And I was like, oh, that's so good. Like, I was like preparing myself for the worst, and like there's going to be tears and crying, but no, she was.
I do think it's so beautiful.
It honestly is, bro. And if you ask Tegan now, she would say that even if I was not with you, or that, everything went pear-shaped with us, I would still wait until marriage, because I think it's such a beautiful aspect of us realizing, or any relationship realizing, that your souls are actually on fire for each other. And she mentioned that, and I don't know this, a girl watching this can confirm, but in a relationship, she said a lot of girls actually think years in, if I was to stop having sex with this man, would he still love me? And it completely obliterates that concern or that, worry in her head, because she knows that I'm not even there for her body. I'm there for her soul. And I think that that's beautiful. I
think it is beautiful too. I think it's tough.
Super tough.
I think, I really can't, after our interaction, our first conversation, I spoke with my girlfriend about this.
Yeah. How'd she go?
She said it was beautiful. And I said, well, don't get your hopes up, because it ain't happening over here. Yeah. Sorry, I don't want you to take that.
No, not at all, dude. Not at all.
But like I said to you, like, I don't have to justify it.
No, you don't.
But
you definitely don't.
That is such a big part. And like, I haven't seen her now in coming up to 8 weeks. And like, don't get me wrong, like I told you, I feel like our connection has strengthened.
Yeah.
I think about her more. I'm invested in the conversation. When we speak, I'm more present than ever before. I want to know about your day. I want to know about everything. I want to be there for you in that sense. But I can't wait to get my hands on you. And that's just me being honest.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely agree. And with where I'm at, like, I never, like, my parents are divorced, so marriage was never really that big of a concern for me. But now, where I'm at is, well, why would I wait? Why would I wait if I know...
Wait for...
marriage.
Right.
Yeah. So, like, proposing, dropping a knee, giving her a nice juicy ring is way more on my mind than it ever has been. And I think that that's beautiful in itself. Do you know what I mean? And the old version of me would be like, dude, you cannot get married at, 24, 25. Like, you've got your whole life had it. But it's like, that whole thing has changed as well. It's just like, well, no, she's going to be the woman who's going to help me build that whole life.
Yeah.
Why would I wait?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, once you're married, it's...
Well, I was actually gonna ask you, like, since making this decision as a relationship, is there something in your head which is like, okay, but it won't be that long because now you're like not in a rush, but it's sped up the process, let's say.
Yeah.
Is it sped up because you've justified to yourself and you've kind of reassured yourself and each other that, okay, maybe our souls are more on fire for each other than we ever thought, and we don't need the sex, that's just a plus?
Yeah.
Like, we can jump into that?
Yeah.
Or is it a case of like, I really want to like have sex, but I also want to be a good Christian. Maybe I should just speed this process up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a bit of both. Do you know what I mean? Like, of course I want to have sex.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good, bro. And like, but at the same time, and that's where I think as well, environment plays a big part. Like, I've got really good Christian brothers around me who will make sure that I don't rush into anything.
Yeah.
If it's not right. And it is like a testing period, but instead of waiting, 5 years, 8 years to get engaged and get married, like it would be like 1 year or 2 years. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So still having that period where you're actually testing the waters, seeing if your souls are on fire for each other. But then it's just like, well, if I know that and God's continually telling me that and putting it on my heart like he has with these other big challenges, then why would I not pull the trigger? Why would I not ask the question? And why would I not get married? Mm-hmm. Because there's no other answer. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, okay, perfect.
How long have you guys been together?
Just over a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
You keep mentioning about your relationship, your guys' souls are on fire for each other. How do you know?
When you take away the thing that is most desired in today's world, i.e. sex and physical touch, you start to have to rely on other pillars like communications, like deep chats, like actually, figuring out where you want to go and like what your plans are. And, these are things that do come up in a normal relationship. I'm sure that you both have spoken about, how you want to bring families up and where you want to live and things like that, of course, but you're relying more so on that. There's not just like, oh, I'm angry at you, let's have sex and get rid of it all. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, we're going to have to talk this out.
Yeah.
We're going to have to like figure something out here. What's a way that works for both of us? What's a way that we can get over these hurdles without having sex, without relying on the thing that the world society relies on, right? Because it's even you break up with your partner and then you have like, whatever it's called, like revenge sex with each, you know what I mean? And it's like the best sex ever, yeah. But it's like, you don't have that. So it's relying on other pillars. And I believe that there's three in a relationship: me, her, and God. And God's like at the top. It's like a triangle, right? And we're both down here. And the closer that we get to God, the closer we become together. So then marriage would be like the pinnacle of that, where our relationship is blessed and under the covenant of God. And don't get me wrong, there's still going to be challenges and tests and tribulations like every relationship ever.
Humans,
but,
right?
Yeah, exactly. It's the human aspect of it. But if we both have our own relationship with God and we both trust in his plan for us together and us with him, then in my opinion, nothing can go wrong.
Was she with you when everything was going on with that video?
Yeah.
How did she handle things?
Phenomenally, bro.
Were people saying things to her? Were people in her ear? In her ear?
So we were still sort of just seeing each other then.
Guys, sorry to I'm gonna quickly run for a wee. Just keep it rolling.
Yeah, cool, bro. Yeah. So we were sort of just seeing each other still then, but the feelings were starting to grow. And I mean, she was there when I actually, a funny story, dude.
Come.
So she was actually, I remember when we first started hanging out a little over a year ago, and I was flat broke, dude. Like flat broke, had to budget every dollar that I spent into the budget. And I remember I said to her one time, I said, like tags. I don't know if like you'd want to hang out. Like I actually can't even afford to take us to a coffee, like to take you on a coffee date. And she said to me, she said, Cody, I don't care if you can't buy me a coffee. I get so much value from you in other areas that I don't need monetary value. And I was like, wow, I've never heard anyone speak to anyone like that, let alone a woman to a man, or a woman that, you know, I like. And I was like, wow, that's completely different. And to me, that was like, she has such a bright light. And that's just one of the instances where I really saw that shine through the dullness of normal society, I would say. And it really took me by surprise, bro. But yeah, she's such a great girl and continues to show that. So yeah.
Sorry, fellas.
No, you're cool.
I was talking and I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can hold this out.
Did you, when everything was going on, was it purely on social media?
Yeah, it was all social media.
No one...
Sorry, I completely just missed that question. So she was there, and actually at the time, she had... So she's a performer, like aerialist. So
sick.
she's unreal. And at the time, she actually tore her hamstring, which was a really bad injury.
Not fun.
No fun at all. So she could barely walk, and if you ask her, she would say that it was rock bottom for her. And it was like...
So you guys were like...
She couldn't work. She couldn't do anything. She couldn't earn money. She was just like... It was a terrible time for her. And she put all of it aside, bro. We were still just talking stage at this time. Put all of it aside and would just come over and just take my mind off it. And that was the beautiful thing about our relationship right from the get-go, is my life was always so much in my phone, on social media, posting, do this, reply to that, you know, try and get money here, try and whip up that contract. But then whenever I was with her, I wouldn't think about anything other than being with her. And it was just such a nice, like...
You know what? It's funny you said that, and I feel like our relationships are more similar than I thought of originally. When I started dating and seeing my partner, I was potentially going through the hardest time that I've ever been through in my life. I had just left my secure job. I was having the worst possible time at home that I've ever had. And this person, my partner, was the only person that let me switch off.
Exactly.
And yes, it was sexual and it was fun and it was dates and that type of stuff. But there was also the side where it was like, I could sit in silence with you in the car and I feel at peace. I don't really get that. I've never really had that. I only have that with a few of my selective friends. You know, when you're like in the car sometimes and the music skips, or it's a song that neither of you know and it just goes a little bit weird, and you start thinking about what's the next question I'm going to ask, or what's the next thing we're going to talk about. With some people, you just don't get that, right? That for me is the ultimate state of being comfortable and at peace with your surroundings and the people you're with. And I had that with her instantly. And she let me not forget, but took my mind away from it so effortlessly to, at the time, who was a stranger to me. But there was this point where I was like, okay, maybe I like this girl more than I'm letting off.
Yeah, I was the exact same. I didn't want to admit it.
Yeah.
For ages, I was like, nah. All my friends were like, dude, why don't you just date her? And I was like, nah, it's CA time. I'm just doing my thing, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was exactly the same.
It was kind of like me as well.
Yeah.
I wasn't necessarily like I wouldn't say the boys were like, date her, bro. Like, but it was like I was having this battle in my head, like, I'm too young. Maybe I should be. Maybe I shouldn't be. Maybe you know?
Yeah.
And that carried on and whatever. But yeah, you kind of just made me think that I was at a bad place, and that person uplifted me.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing about it was that she was at a terrible place as well, and still made me feel that comfort and still put her worries aside to support me. And if that's not what you're looking for in a wife, then I don't know what is.
That's amazing, man.
Beautiful.
When you were going through when you were going through everything, the hard time, what was, obviously apart from your girlfriend, etc., what was the number one factor that got you through it? Was it Christ?
Christ and support from not only Tegan, but really good friends around me. So like I said, you really see who's in your corner in a time like that where it feels explosive, I would use. And the people who are there are really there. Do you know what I mean? And it's not like, oh, don't worry, Cody, you know, like it wasn't that bad. It's like, dude, you stuffed up. It was a bad video. You shouldn't have posted that. But I still love you, bro. I know that you didn't, you know, mean any harm from it. I saw the background of it. And those people, Christ and Tegan, were definitely what got me through that time. And at the end of the day, dude, it's just like everyone makes mistakes. Everyone stuffs up. It just so happens that this one was public and that everyone knew about it.
How bad was it? Like, on what scale?
Oh, like it felt like the whole world was against me, but I don't know. A few pages like reacted to it, got probably a couple million views, but then it changes the whole energy around you because you're going out to a cafe and everybody already knows you around the Gold Coast, like where I'm from. Everybody already knows you.
And have a negative.
And you can feel it.
Yeah.
You can feel energy. I'm a big energy frequency guy.
What energy do you get from us?
Good. Otherwise I wouldn't be here.
Same goes, bro.
Yeah. And that's like, I can pick them straight away. Do you know what I mean? When there's good energy. And that's why I sort of magnetized towards Bali, because it's such great energy. Because everyone's sort of thinking similar thoughts to me, more or less. But not only that, the local people, bro, is so good. Like,
so lovely.
Where in Australia or the UK do you go in and high five every single one of the cafe staff? And like, nowhere, dude. So yeah, to not only that, but just the energy of everywhere I went, I could feel people looking at me and I could feel people's negative thoughts about me. And in turn, it made me more negative. It made me go down a path of, I don't want to go out. I don't want to like go there. What if people are thinking of me? What if people are judging me? And then you're just always in your own head and it's hard to escape.
Do you still hold on to some of that trauma?
I would like to think that I've worked past majority of it for sure. I still
still here?
I still had a little bit of reluctancy to start making content again, just because all of that, and not in a way of I care what people think, because I'm very much over that aspect. I have been for a long time, but more so, can I take the frequency hit? Can I withstand the negative? Is my positive energy going to outweigh the negativity that I will potentially get from restarting? So it's like, it was more of a, am I ready? Am I up enough to, because the most dominant energy will always win, whether it's in a conversation, whether it's in a post, whether it's on social media or real life, the most dominant energy will always win. And it was, is my positive energy more dominant than the negative energy that I will get? And how you can, what was really cool and came up a lot for me in the last week, as I was talking about dinner the other night, was I've got such good people around me. Once again, environment is so big, man. So big. Change your environment and you'll change your life. And I've got such a good support network around me of people doing the same thing, that I believe that the positive energy is now at an aura, at a state, at a frequency that the negativity will only bounce off.
Well, we said to you, bro, get on it.
Dude, it was the conversation that I had at dinner that night was what made me go, yeah, all right. And once again, like I've said,
I love that.
From the start, like God talks to me in continual patterns. He'll keep bringing it up until I go, oh, there's a lesson here. And that was the final straw for me, because I'd been talking about it all week. And that dinner, I was like, okay, I'm going to start posting content again.
So we shared God's message.
Yeah, exactly right.
To you.
Yep.
You received the message from God through.
Yep.
Cool. It's interesting.
So God's using you, bro.
When I
Right.
came and
We're
sat
in the
next to you in
harvest
that
field.
cafe.
There's worse people to
got
be
sent-
used by.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And that conversation was part of it. What did we start talking? Finn rocks up. What do we start talking about? Content, business. It's like, oh, okay.
It's mad when you like really dial back how things happen, because how did I meet Finn that day?
Running.
It was he came to the run club. So I met Finn from running past each other, and then we ran together. And he was like, "Oh, let's go grab a bite." Came and grab a bite, and he wasn't there yet. Obviously, I didn't know that you guys even knew each other.
Yeah.
Ladies put me on the table next to you. It's crazy, like the butterfly effect.
That's what I
how
mean,
things
dude.
happen.
It's so, and you can only reflect on it. You can never plan it. But it's so cool, and that's why reflection is such a big part. And when I do reflect back on even my relationship with Tegan and even my life, dude, I can see where God was like moving me multiple times but you can only reflect back on it. And when the majority of really good, explosive things happen, right after something bad happens, or right after something like bad is supposed to happen. Do you know what I mean? So
It makes for a better story.
yeah, exactly, dude. I'm all about the stories.
In the superhero story, there's always a part bang smack in the middle where they are in the rut,
Yeah, exactly.
where they are
Well, bro,
at the
even when I
bottom
went
of the bottom.
even when I went surfing, like with the boys, like I won't get into the story because I don't need to, but like basically we got taken in some waves, and I probably wouldn't have come back and said, "Oh, I had so much fun," and spoke about it so much if I didn't fucking shit myself whilst I was doing it, if I wasn't scared.
Yeah, exactly.
And it made for the better story.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. Yeah.
What questions do you ask yourself daily?
That's a great question, dude. I think that the quality of your life is determined by the questions that you ask yourself. And I think that in normal society, it's something that people lack. And I think you can only really give yourself good answers when you're quiet.
This is why like I advocate so much of people just willingly spending time on their own. I don't know what I just
Such
enjoy
a
it
life
so
hack.
much. I enjoy socializing. I really do with the right people. I think it's the best fucking thing to do. Like I love
Same.
good conversation, throwing ideas around, speaking about the things that I'm interested in. But like I need my alone time, and
Yeah.
it makes me like gain clarity, have that time to think about what's going on, ask myself questions.
Yeah.
Look, like even people watching, like you learn a lot from it.
100%. And I think that the world today is so noisy.
And what do people do when they're on their own as well? They
Yeah,
pick
just
up their
pick up
phone,
your phone. Exactly.
start
What's that
scrolling,
noise?
and you're not in here. You're
Yeah.
you're inside your phone when you're scrolling.
Yeah, 100%. And getting filled with cheap dopamine and then being by yourself or reading or something is not fun because you've just had, things popping up and animations and whatever.
I saw a clip about. It was actually about like quitting snus. Yeah, it was on Instagram, and the guy was basically saying that he was like, today's the last day I'm doing snus, and like here, like he basically listed his reasons, and he was like, I've had enough of it. It was controlling my life. I wasn't controlling the snus, and he was like, anything that is bad for you in life, you have an urge to do it after
I
you
think I've
stop.
seen this.
After you finish scrolling, or like you'll have an urge at some point to pick up your phone and start scrolling.
You don't have
Snooze.
an urge to eat
You-
the
you have-
banana.
Yeah,
Is that the-
exactly.
Yeah.
The healthy things in life, the things that are actually good for you, you don't have an urge to do them.
Yeah,
And he was like, this is how you can judge what's good and what's not.
Yeah, so true. So true. I can't start snus. I'd be addicted.
You told me earlier that you had an addictive personality.
Yeah.
And you've also mentioned, obviously, that your relationship was built up on physical touch. What was that part like? I know spiritually you made the decision, but like physically, like when you sleep next to your girlfriend, when you are having provocative thoughts, like what physically is that like? Like, is it a battle, or have you passed that where it doesn't even?
It's a great question. No, it's definitely a battle. It's definitely a battle, but that's just where you lean on Christ. I've actually got a verse that I would love to share on it.
What does the leaning of Christ actually consist of?
It's
though?
just it's leaning in the spirit. It's leaning like, and when you're in the moment, you need to do worldly things. Don't get me wrong. Like you need to be like, all right, Cody, stop, get away. Like
Push-ups.
Yeah, literally. Like we literally said to each other, like when we start kissing or doing, we need to just do squats or something, because you need like a worldly escape from the flesh, the sin that could potentially happen. But in hindsight, it's leaning into the spirit. And what does that bring? It brings peace, hope, and eternal life. Leaning into my flesh, and when I think of it this way, I'm like, oh, dude, it's so lame. Like, because it's just a desire that I have as a human. And really, I'm just like a skeleton with some meat on it. Do you know what I mean? Like a muscle suit. And it's my spirit that is the thing that matters, my soul. And like, really, are you going to give in to the desires that this meat suit wants, Cody? Like, do you know what I mean? When you put it like that, you're like, oh yeah, true. You know what I mean? So leaning on that, but I definitely have to have something like, yeah, let's do squats or let's do push-ups to get my brain away from my meat suit thoughts, away from that urge or that desire, for sure.
Can I hear the?
Yeah, I was just about to
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
share
for
the
sure.
verse.
For sure.
Start spitting.
So it's Romans. Romans is my favorite book in the Bible. It's Romans 8:5. For those who live according to the flesh set their minds on the things of the flesh, but those who live according to the Spirit set their minds on the things of the Spirit. For to set the mind on the flesh is death, but to set the mind on the Spirit is life and peace.
Interesting.
So it's just your flesh. It's just the desires of your flesh. And as once again, what's sin for me might not be sin for you, because you haven't actually experienced that. You haven't been, told that from God. So it's not being disobedient. Whereas if I were to do, go and have sex, I would feel this immense amount of guilt and shame and disrespect for myself. My word would mean less. Like everything would just be a downfall from that one action of a desire that my flesh has. So it's just not worth it.
You say what's a sin for you may not be a sin for me.
Mm-hmm.
How do you justify and figure
Your
out?
relationship with God. It's literally all it is.
So, obviously, naturally. Let's just, it's an extreme example.
I was just going to say, I feel like you're going to throw some mad examples.
It's an extreme example. Us three
let's hit
sat
it.
here, right?
Let's hit it.
If we go out and we shoot somebody in the head, the extreme guilt that you said that you would feel if you were to partake in sexual activity with your partner is the guilt that we would all feel for that murder, right?
Yeah, of course.
Now, there's some people, I don't know any of them personally, and I'm only going off of how I would assume it, that murder is a regular thing in their life. That is a sin in so many different ways. But if they don't feel the guilt, and if they don't feel the weight on their shoulders, is that not classed as a sin to them?
To them, no. Well, they don't believe in Christ and they don't have a relationship with God, so they're not going anywhere anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It might not be a sin. And like sin is this thing that is like from the Bible or whatever. So we only know about it because we're Christian. Do you know what I mean? So the more that I deepen my faith, the more that I become aware of my sins. Like I try and not even swear anymore.
Oh, yeah, I clocked it.
I noticed that.
Yeah. It doesn't align. That's good.
My mom will probably listen to this episode and be like, hey, you should take some tips from Cody.
Dude, and I used to swear a lot, as Australians and people from the UK do. So it's just becoming aware of that and wanting to align my life more with Christ.
But so again, now your point is starting to sink in a little bit and it's starting to make more sense. I'm fully aware that I swear, but I don't look at it as a sin. I look at it as an expression.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's not sin to you.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So whereas I then feel bad if I have that more guilt and shame on my heart. And that is that's how you know, for me, that Christ has my heart and that Christ has saved my life, is that feeling that I get, like it's not hardened anymore. Whereas before I would do whatever I wanted and it was just Cody's world.
What did that actually consist of? You mentioned to me briefly off of camera the life that you lived before.
Yeah.
Before you found Christ, before you, I'm assuming, found fitness and found fulfillment in other ways.
Yeah.
What was it that you did? How did you live?
What was it that I didn't do? Nah, I mean, just like majority of Australians, I think we have and UK, we have a pretty big like party scene. You get into it quite early. It's quite normal to be drinking and having drugs at 14. Do you know what I mean?
Damn.
So, yeah, I mean, I've done most drugs under the sun. Loved them. Used to party every weekend. Ever since I was like 15, every weekend I was out at a house party. I was clubbing early with fake IDs. And the original thing that sort of got me out of that whole life, like I would sell drugs at one point, was just self-improvement. Like I've always held myself to a high standard. So it wasn't like God or anything like that. I've been on that journey for a long time before finding God. But it was just, I held myself to a high standard my whole life. I was like, look, I'm not going to have to worry about money. I'm not going to have to do this. I know that I'm good, but just right now, this is quite fun. And after a while of just repeating the same thing, going to the same club, seeing the same people, dancing to the same songs, drinking the same drinks, eating the same drugs, I was like, man, I'm not living up to my potential. And it wasn't just like, all right, I don't club anymore or I don't go out anymore. It was a long journey. But now I'm excited to say that it would be in like 5 days' time. I'll be 2 years completely sober.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I have a question around that, though.
Yeah.
Jesus drank wine.
I know, bro. And it's something that I need to like come to terms with, because you take part in the bread and the wine. It's a big thing. It's actually like the
Do you take communion?
Yeah, so that's what I mean.
Do you consume?
So I haven't yet, but when that opportunity comes, me learning more about it, I would definitely take part in it. And I think that throughout,
By the way, I don't think that there's a right or wrong.
But it's something that I actually have thought about, and that my good mate and I actually talk about all the time. He's like, no, dude, it's very important. And I was like, but I don't drink. But it's more like, I was like, what do I do here?
You know what?
Yeah.
I've just thought, you said that you don't have sex in your relationship, so you have to lean on other things. Mm-hmm. And I'm now reflecting and thinking about some of my deepest and most intellectual conversations that I've had with my partner. Mm-hmm. And it might be on a dinner table over a couple of glasses of wine, where we are more in touch. I don't know. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. But if we have a glass of wine, some of those filters like strip off. You're just a little bit more open with your thoughts, and some of the best conversations that we've ever had about our past, present, and future. The alcohol has been a byproduct. Like it's been not a byproduct. It's been a what's the word? A catalyst for that. So, I would argue that maybe a couple of glasses of red of an evening might actually strengthen those parts of your relationship. But then it's also about obviously the balance and coming away from your previous self that was. Yeah.
And I think that I'm at the stage now where I would be open to do that. Mm-hmm. Or, if I'm away on holiday and there's an expensive bottle of red around the dinner table with my bestest friends, like I would be open to it. See, I'm not the biggest, like I don't actually enjoy like the taste of beer or wine or anything. I used to just drink to get drunk as quick as possible and as much as possible. So before it was very much I can't do this, or like there's no point for me.
You weren't drinking for the experience. You were drinking for the outcome. Just
to go and escape my reality, really, because I was more confident with it. I could talk to people. I could get girls whilst I was intoxicated. But then strip away the alcohol and I was a shell of myself. And after I realized that and became aware of it, I then went on the complete extreme. And as I've mentioned a couple of times, I'm pretty all in. So it's just like, no, I'm never drinking. Bang. I've made that decision. But now as I continue to grow in my life as a man and in my journey with faith, I'm becoming more open to that possibility. However, I still, like I said, don't actually enjoy the taste. So like, why would I do it in my
Not
head?
the biggest fan of being drunk, being like out of control.
See,
I
I
don't
loved
think
it.
it's that. No, I used to enjoy it. I used to like live for those kind of weekends and like going out.
Don't get me wrong as well. Like some of my best memories are whilst being drunk or, at a festival. But it's just the contrast of the life that I want to live, and it just doesn't really align anymore with where I'm going and what I'm doing.
I think it just comes down to balance and control.
I used to hate the word balance, bro. I used to hate it. But as I continue to grow on my own journey, I'm starting to realize how important it actually is. Balance with everything, man.
Of course.
Balance with,
actually,
going and socializing versus working.
Mm-hmm.
I get more work done when I'm actually talking to cool people and bouncing ideas rather than just locking myself in a room.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't work for me. But I had to go through the learnings and go through those thought patterns to actually realize that and to have that balance and bring that word back into, and not only the word, but the actions that
Comes back
revolves
to
around
reflection, doesn't it?
Exactly, bro. But you have to go through the things to be able to reflect on them. And that's just life.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. So fun.
I just had a thought. Were you, because I know that you were skeptical about starting content and stuff like that again. Was doing the podcast today a bit of a big thing for you, or no?
Nah. No, I just see it as a conversation with two.
Well, it is.
Two
Yeah,
blokes
no,
that I
it,
like.
100% it is. But it's like obviously like fundamentally, it's content for social
Yeah,
media, right?
yeah. Nah, no.
I was just
I was
curious.
just like, yo, that's epic. Of course, I'm keen to have.
To be honest, I was slightly skeptical when I first put the idea forwards to you, because I thought this guy hasn't posted and hasn't been out there, and I'm asking him to come with all the lights and the cameras and the microphones, and to basically like strip everything back. Because as much as like this is a podcast, I don't want it to be an interview, right?
Yeah.
I want this to be a conversation.
Yeah.
But it's
we need our screen time as well, fella.
it's the
Got the pump before, so you look good, bro.
But it is though, like it's stripping everything back, and effectively like we've asked you some pretty deep questions, and I feel like you've answered them very openly. And I think just on reflection, it makes me happy that it wasn't a big deal for you in your head, because it means that we made you feel comfortable about this situation.
Yeah, definitely. And I like to be open. I think that like honesty is a big value of mine, and like I've got nothing to hide. Like I said, I've stuffed up a million times, but what I've realized is that everyone has. So it's like, what is there for me to hide? Like I don't really mind. I'm happy to share my story. If it can inspire one person, beautiful. If it inspires no one, I'm sure that my mum will like to watch it.
Yeah. Shout out Mumsy, man.
Shout out, Mumsy.
Well, the thing is, you said that you stuffed up loads of times, right? You made lots of mistakes.
Yeah.
Well, that's like, it's a key part of life, and that's how you learn. Because if you never made any of those mistakes, you wouldn't have been in the position that you are now, where you found Christ and like you're a better person than you were, right?
Yep.
So it's like without making those mistakes, you wouldn't have found Christ and become the person that you truly are.
100%. And it's like the verse that I referred to earlier, the struggles create endurance, endurance creates character, and character creates hope. But you need the struggles to get the character, right? And when you're in the middle of a struggle or a tough time or whatever, it's harder to see that bigger picture for sure. But when you get, and I think it just comes with maturing and growing, and when you get enough reps behind you, you start to realize that, once again, usually something big happens. Right? Exactly. It's a reflection. It's a constant cycle of growing and learning, and progression is one of my favorite things.
You scared of death?
No, not at all. I'm a Christian. Can't wait to die. As weird as that sounds.
Yeah.
No. It'll come when it's supposed to. But no. To answer your question.
Before we round off, I feel like I haven't touched on it, and it's a pretty big thing in my head. And we haven't asked you, and I haven't asked you off camera either. You told me that you grew up and you were atheist. You didn't believe in anything. More often than not, you're a product of your environment as a kid. You grow up. So I grew up in a God-fearing Christian household.
Yeah.
Naturally, I was brought up with those morals, and that's the way I think and operate and live my life.
Yeah.
You told me that obviously you never believed in anything. I'm assuming that's a reflection of your household and your upbringing.
Yep.
How did your family take the transition and the flip and the drastic change effectively that you've had on your life and this realization? And I know it wasn't instant, but it was relatively quick.
Yeah.
And it was a relatively like a legit U-turn
Yeah.
on the way that you live your life. How did your family
That's a great
take
question.
that? Thank you.
It's always a good compliment as a host.
Yeah,
but no,
thank you.
great question.
I keep going back to, sorry, you know that the guy Jack that's got the
Yeah.
he did that clip, didn't he, where like some of the biggest guys in the world are all going to him. That is a great question.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a great question.
Goss, if you're listening to this, clip up every single time that Cody said great question. Let's make it into a reel.
But no, to answer your question, it's still a work in progress. Is how I show my family my faith. And I think that it would come through just undeniable proof.
It's a big part as well, right? Because
Big part.
everybody, whether we like to speak it out loud or not, I mean, one of the commandments within the Bible is honor your mother and father.
Yeah.
We are wired and driven to make the people that have created us and given us life proud.
Yeah.
We want them to say, I am proud of you, son.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you. I'm happy the person that you've become, right? That it's hardwired into us that we want to make those people proud to have created us, to have given us life, to have given us the
100%.
opportunity, right?
Yep.
It's a big deal when you don't have those people on side.
Mm.
And I think it takes a lot of character to still stick at whatever your purpose is.
Yeah. You nailed it, dude. 100%. And I know personally through reflection and just awareness of me and my journey that I take what my dad says very to heart and very seriously.
Yeah.
So, and as I continue down this path and on my journey, this might change, but I like to go to him with results, not ideas or not, thoughts, because I like to go, if I was to go to him and go, I left my jobs and I'm just starting this business and I'm going to give it a crack. He'd be like, no, like, I think that you should just, see it out a little bit longer. And then I would take that into consideration and then I would start to ponder that thought. And whereas if I don't tell him anything, just say, yeah, like it's going well, making money, left everything. I've just gone all in on this business. And then I go to him and say, like I just did a 20 grand month. He'd go, what? But then he's like, oh man, that's epic. Like, and then you get the positive, like reinforcement from it. Now, I'm very lucky because I have beautiful parents who more or less have a really good mindset, open, and they've dealt with my ideas and stupidness for a long time. Do you know what I mean? Like I've always got the next idea, always doing this. Yeah, I'm going to make money this way. Yeah, I'm going to do this. Yeah, I'm going to leave my job. Yeah, I'm going to move overseas. Like all of these, crazy things that I bring to the table.
Crazy to some.
Yes, exactly right. Exactly right. And crazy to the world that I've been brought up in.
Crazy to most, actually. Not some.
Yeah.
Normal to some.
Exactly.
And cool to some.
Exactly.
Because I think everything you just said shows me that that's somebody that I would want to associate myself with.
Yeah, exactly right.
Somebody that I think will be successful.
Yeah, and that's why I love Bali, because everyone who's here, specifically like Canggu, Puranan, open house vibes, we've chosen to be here. We've made a deliberate decision to leave our homes, fly, and land here. Why? Because everyone has the same growth mindset. Everyone is thinking very similar thoughts. Everyone's super good looking. Everyone takes care of their body. Everyone is making more money than you. And for some, they would see that as an environment that's intimidating. I just see that as an environment that's motivating. I'm like, man, who can I talk to? Like, I'll be in the sauna next to some of the biggest YouTubers. I'm like,
bro, it happened to me today, bro.
Yeah. And
Literally what you said happened to me today.
Yeah.
I was just chatting to this guy in the sauna. We got into the ice bath together after. I was like, what do you do, bro? He's like, I'm a YouTuber. I was like, oh, obviously curiosity spite. I had to ask him. I was like, bro, like, how many subs are you on, man?
Yeah,
like, I need to know. He's like, 750.
Yeah.
He was like, I've grown 700k in the past 9 months. I was like, what? This is just insane, bro. Like, it just never happens when you
pinch me
are.
moment. He gave H his Instagram, and H turned around when the guy left, and he was like, Chris, Kyle from Nelk follows him.
I was like, it's pretty insane, bro. He went on the podcast.
Like, that is nuts.
He was he went on the podcast that it's called The Fellas. I don't know if you've heard of it. They actually did a tour in Oz. It was the first podcast that I started listening to religiously, week in, week out. The first podcast I listened to was Kevin Hart and Joe Rogan, and I was listening to The Fellas every single Tuesday when it would come out. And it's like, he went on there. He was like, oh, I've just been on The Fellas podcast. I was like, what?
It's
like, no way,
so
bro.
cool. But that's what you just have access to people like
just
that.
sat next to H in the sauna at Obsidian.
Yeah, exactly.
But we were all in the sauna speaking about psychedelics. There's like 5 of us all speaking about it.
Yeah.
I was just like, obviously I've never done them, but like everyone else in there had done them. I was just super curious about it.
Yeah.
It was just,
but that's what you have access to by making that deliberate decision. Whereas at home, and you guys would relate to this, it's everyone is just born there. They have nobody's
there by choice, right?
Exactly, bro. Yeah. Exactly. And there's a select few, don't get me wrong, like it's not just all bad, but the environment is a much more positive and open place to be when you deliberately make that decision to come.
It's a growth mindset.
Exactly, bro.
It's an open-minded.
Exactly.
I like
happy to listen and ideas and.
Yeah. I like that the majority of the people here aren't so material driven. And
like, the best you can have is an X-Max. And like scooter, do you know what I mean? It's like the Lamborghini of scooters, and it costs you like 150 English a month.
Not even. I think we paid like 80.
We got a couple of X-Maxes.
One of us has an X-Max. Yeah.
I think it's actually Goss.
Yeah.
X-Max.
The least capable.
I got a PCX. I got PCX. Pretty bad boy, to be fair.
Yeah, they're all sick.
Yeah.
But no, I agree.
But my point being is like the it's not as like it's not very prestigious here. Like it doesn't matter. Like I feel like everybody's curious about you. It's not so much this is what I do. Yeah. It's like how are you, man? What's your name? What do you do? Rather than like being prestigious.
100%. I'll give you a great example. I sat in, and another thing as well is consistency. Consistently showing up at places where other people are consistently showing up at those places. You start to create a relationship without even saying a single word to each other.
Just because you're there.
Just because you're like, oh, this guy shows up here at the same time every day. And he's been here for 3 months. Who's this guy? So then I'll give you a great example of exactly this. I was running ads for a client the other day, and they just weren't working. And a guy who I'd seen multiple times, never said hello to each other for some reason, but I've seen him at open house, sat next to me and goes, how's the ads going? I said, not too good. And he goes, you should try and run them like this. One simple piece of information from a guy that I've seen for like 3 months every day, but never spoken to. But we're both there at the same time. We both made the decision, changed my client's business. Bang, booked 9 calls in like 3 days.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. But like, just the law of association. Like we've just been there at the same time, consistently showing up. We've both chosen to be there for a long time. Bang, we're already friends without even being friends. And we have the openness to just talk to the person next to us.
That's dope.
It's beautiful, bro. And that's why Bali's so amazing.
Before we round up, bro, I want to ask you, to somebody at home that might be or think they might be receiving messages from God and is looking to find Christ and is looking to become a better version of themselves, let's say, what is your message to that person?
Find people that you look up to that are Christians or, following in the faith that you're looking to explore, and get yourself around those people. Same as business, same as life. If you want to change anything, change your environment.
Dope. Cody, it's been a pleasure, brother.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Of course.
We appreciate it.
Of course.
And thank all of you guys. If you're on Spotify, make sure to drop us a rating and a follow. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn the bell notification on so you get notified every time we release a podcast. And we'll see you all next week.
We'll catch you later, guys.
God bless.
Peace.